Hi, my name is Imani Hargrave, and I'm applying for the Color Materials and Apparel and Accessories tracks. I have a little bit of experience with this process. I recently went through another class, which was a great experience. Coming in from a graphic design background, this was the first time that I was going through the process, and we worked with a brand that was very traditional and had a certain way of doing things. So I found a lot of comfort in the constraints that we were given. But this time, it's a little bit more of a lifestyle angle, and I think there are a lot of unique challenges that come with that. And I think this will be the natural progression into my journey into the apparel industry. So now to introduce you guys to my consumer. Anaya is a 20-year-old born and raised New Yorker. The message that I kind of want to get across with my consumer board is not only her, where she's from, how she gets around, but also her connection to the brands that we're working with, Timberland and Vans. This is Anaya. She is a 20-year-old New Yorker born and raised in East Harlem. She usually gets around skateboarding or by the 3 train. When it comes to her connection to Timberland, growing up, that was her father Terry's shoe of choice. He grew up in the city and witnessed the rise of Timberland and hip-hop firsthand. She grew up with his influence and love of hip-hop and its culture. He wore Timberlands in his day-to-day, but it was also the brand of shoe that he trusted on the job as a construction worker. It's a brand that she connects to her community and her hardworking father. Timberland is the foundation of who she is and represents her past in a way. When it comes to Vans, like I said, she gets around with skating. She was somewhat a tomboy growing up. When she was younger, always hanging out with her older cousins and kids around the neighborhood, so naturally, she got into action sports. And as she's gotten older, she's grown into her femininity a lot more. What she likes about Vans is that she can experiment with self-expression while staying true to herself. If Timberland is a representation of her past and the foundation of who she is, Vans is kind of her present, experimenting with where she wants to go. And Timberland and Vans combined is a representation of her future. Color Materials board / color story is inspired by the beginning of her journey with sustainability. Even though Anaya grew up in the city, nature has always held a special place in her heart. In elementary school, her dad signed her up for a nature sleepaway camp one year, trying to give her a different experience, and that's where she got in touch with the environment. The beauty and the silence or lack thereof were so different than what she was used to. I was inspired by the things that she heard and saw, the crackling of a fire, the buzzing of mosquitoes, cicadas in the background. Sustainability and environmentalism are very important to her, and she makes small decisions in her life to make the world a better place, and she expects the same out of the brands that she supports. I knew that I wanted to do a little bit more of a feminine take on the workwear uniform or workwear pieces in general. Not only on taking inspiration from her dad, but also from the subcultures that she identifies with. Hip hop and skate culture, they both adopt style and clothing from workwear. Pieces that I landed on are a cropped workwear jacket, a wrap skirt, and a fitted t-shirt. The ideation process for the jacket, I kind of wanted to highlight the parallel stitching on the front of the jacket. That was meant to be a subtle nod to the high-vis vests that construction workers wear, and so that's meant to be like a subtle nod to her dad. So when it came to my ideation for the skirt, I specifically wanted to touch on why I landed on a web belt. A web belt is used a lot in skate pants. Traditionally, a regular belt will cut into your skin. There's a lot of bending. You fall a lot. You don't want it to hurt your stomach. As well as looking at Timberland's website, specifically in their women's section, they have some dresses that have web belt cinches on the side. So I thought that was a perfect way to tie these two brand DNAs together. When it comes to the graphic t-shirt, when I was doing research about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to look like, the kind of angle that I wanted to take, I saw that Vans, most of their graphic t-shirts are iterations of Vans off the wall slogans. So I decided to combine Vans off the wall with Timberland slogan, which is built for the bold. And that's how I came up with boldly off the wall. And it has that graffiti look, which is obviously, inspired by Timberland and hip hop. But more importantly, Vans is all about self-expression. Graffiti is the first example of self-expression that Anaya saw growing up, and that heavily influences her to this day. This whole time I've been, mentioning she's a skater, and there are a couple of decisions that I made specifically because of that, and I wanted to touch on those a little bit more. The angled pockets are lined with polyester for wax storage. She's at a spot, she waxes it down, puts it in her pocket, it melts, it's not gonna absorb into the fabric, and it's gonna be easy to clean out. As we all know, workwear pieces can be a little bit stiff, and we don't want Anaya to feel restricted. The pleated bi-swing back on her jacket to give her a full range of motion. And to round it out, the jacket and the skirt both have ripstop material incorporated in them, just to give a little bit more durability. She's skating everywhere, but everyone falls. So, take a tumble, no rips, no scratches, like it never happened. That's a little bit more about me, the consumer, and the pieces that I designed.